Hello, this is the Watchdog. Welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Phil Never FN 1801. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Mark Farewell 5930, and Grogo's wearing my Tandorio Steel Pilot. Grogo said that they're making a movie about Mando, Migs Mayfield, and Han Solo smuggling carbonated water into Tatooine without paying Republic taxes. It's called Three Men and a Bubbly. Let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this box. A little disappointed with this box because this is not the box that they showed in the AliExpress ad. And as you can see, it's a little beat up, but oh well, it's just a box. All I do is I only keep the boxes to put my spare links in, and of course to sell them, mail them when I sell them. But here is the watch. As you can see, this is a big watch. This is one of the biggest watches I've ever reviewed on my channel. Pretty massive, and it's heavy too. This is the second Phil Never on my channel. Phil Never is a sub-brand of Liege, and they make big, huge 500-meter dive-style watches. When certain AliExpress watches make a claim of 500 meters, one can be somewhat skeptical, but when you look and handle one of these up close, it feels like it could handle twice as much water pressure. These are most certainly massive tanks of watches. This FN 1801 is a Quartz VK63 powered watch with a timing bezel since the chronograph portion cannot be operated under the water. The timing bezel can also be used as an hour marker if you wish to use the chronograph beyond an hour, since the VK63 does not have an hour subdial. This watch comes in 3 different colorways. If you don't like the blue I chose, there's also an all gray dial with gray bezel, or there's a white dial with black subdials for those who prefer the panda look. The steel bracelet is the only option. The watch is 46 millimeters if you measure at the bezel. They claim 48 millimeters, but I don't know. I mean, the case is a little bit bigger than the bezel, but I don't know if it's a full 2 millimeters bigger. 56 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links. It's 19.8 millimeters thick, so this is one big chunky monkey. And then we have a 22 millimeter lug width, which tapers down to 20 millimeters at the clasp. It weighs a whopping 262 grams on the supplied bracelet with 2 links removed. So this is one of the heaviest watches I've ever reviewed. The bezel's great. I really like the bezel. It's fully illumined. It's 120 click, and the action's wonderful. No back play. Really good solid clicks. And it's stiff enough where you're not going to knock it out of place, but not too stiff that it's irritating to turn. And then we have the dial. The dial's textured and it looks really nice. Then we have a tachymeter on the rehat, since we can't put the tachymeter on the bezel. And then we have the little square indices, and then we have numerals. And the numerals have cutouts where the subdials are, and that's a pretty nice effect. And we have a double baton at the 12. And then we have, it says Phil Never. Let me get this hand out of the way so you can see it. Then it says 500 meters. So yes, once again, I do not have the equipment to test it, but this one feels like a 500 meter watch. It's solidly built. Then this has a VK63, so we have the 3 subdials. We have the 24-hour indicator on the right. We have a running second hand on the bottom. Now the running second hand, though, doesn't have very many markers. So it's it's nice to have, but it would have been nice if they would have put little 5-second sub markers in there, but they did not. And the left subdial is the chronograph minute counter. Then we have the hands. We have sword hands. And then we have the large second chronograph hand, and we do have a little rectangular loom tip. And then we have this counterbalance that looks like arrow feathers. This being a VK63 chronograph, it's known as a Mecha Quartz, and it ticks 5 times a second, so it gives you a smooth sweep on the large second hand. Just press the top one again to stop it. And since this is the VK63, you get an instant snapback. Then we have the crown. The crown is a sine screw down crown. As you can see, it's really thick and big, and it has a serious crown guard. The thread action, you feel a lot of resistance there. It's not the smoothest I've ever felt, but it's not bad either. And when you go to screw it down, sometimes you kind of miss and you have to start over. So not the best thread action in the world. Then we do have screw down pushers. Of course, they're not really screw down. These are screw locks. So it locks the pushers, because the last thing you want to do is push a pusher when you're under the water. So this just prevents you from pushing them. They're not really screw down. And then we have the crystal. The crystal is a dome sapphire. And I don't know if there's AR coating or not, but I think there is, because this does a pretty good job of not reflecting. And then we have the case. The case is really solidly built, nicely finished. It's brushed, but it does have these polished chamfered edges at the lugs. So really good case, really happy with it. And then we have the case back. The case back has a map of the world, and the case back's really thick. But once again, this is a 500-meter watch, so you need it to be thick. And it does have writing on it, but it's kind of hard to read. But this says water resistant to 500 meters. Then this says stainless steel. Then this says quartz movement. And then it gives the model number. And this is a true screw down case back. These little notches are not fake. Underneath the case back is the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement. This is a pretty common chronograph quartz movement in watches in this price range. The main advantage, of course, is you get a large second chronograph hand with a smooth sweep, where most of these you do not. The disadvantage, though, is the large second hand. Because of the instant snapback, it can only be put on one time. And so if it's misaligned, they don't care, because they're not going to pull the hand again, because then they have to replace the hand. Otherwise, when you get that really quick snapback, the hand will fall off. And as you can see, it's barely misaligned, but there's nothing you can do about it to fix it. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet's a 3-link oyster style with inverted end links, and they're solid end links. And we do have push pins. I'm perfectly happy with push pins. Screw pins sound more premium, but push pins just work better. And they don't ever come out on me where screw pins have. Then we have the clasp. It's signed. We got a milled lower, pressed upper, and 3 holes of micro adjust. And sometimes I have to press in the clasp just to close it, so it doesn't have the best clasp action. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. This is a big watch. I can just barely pull it off, and look how chunky it is. And of course, since the case back is so thick, there's some serious gap by the lugs. But once again, this is a 500-meter watch, and it is really well built. And it's top heavy. I mean, the watch head's huge, and this is a substantial strap, but it's a 22 millimeter. Maybe if they would have put a 24 on there, it would have balanced it a little bit better. But yeah, it's very top heavy. And if you put it on a leather strap or a tropic strap, it's going to be seriously top heavy. But it does look nice. And I removed 2 links, so that means the bracelet's a little short. 8 1/4 is about the best you're gonna do. I did move it in 1 micro adjust though, so. Here we are in the lume room. If one is to take a dive watch seriously, it needs to have good lume so you can see it under the water. So let's see how this Phil Never does. As we speed up the time, we see the green glow of a fully lumed watch, which includes the bezel and subdial hands. The best part about it is that the strongest thing in the watch are the lume pip and the major hands, as these are what are important on a dive watch. There's also seems to be an emphasis on the bezel ascension phase, which appears to be a bit stronger than the rest of the bezel and the dial markers. This is very good lume, but not awesome lume. What do I like about this watch? Well, it's solidly built and it feels like a 500-meter watch. Has very good lume. I like this fully lumed bezel with great bezel action. I like this 6 o'clock date. I like this textured dial. And I really like the case and the case finish. What are my gripes and groans? The watch is huge and heavy. Oh, I didn't mention this too, the helium escape valve. I don't know if I got a bad one or if it's just a prop, but I cannot unscrew it. And I'm not going to try to force it and break it. But since you're never going to use the helium escape valve anyway, I didn't send it back or ask about it, but it just does not come undone. So I'm pretty sure it's just a prop. And a big watch like this needs a longer bracelet. I only removed 2 links. And also, I've had difficulty with this clasp, closing it. I usually have to press the side buttons to close it. Do I recommend this watch? Sure, as long as you are a collector and not a one-watch guy. Sometimes it's fun to wear a big-ass watch with tons of wrist presence, but not sure if I would want that every day. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Phil Never FN 1801, and I will be back with a review or an unboxing. I have one thing from AliExpress, but I'm waiting for some more before I do I don't want to do a single unboxing on it. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel, and if you like this watch, be sure to use my affiliate link and I'll get a tiny commission. I'm getting ready to cash in my affiliate link commissions and get that squally I've been talking about. I'm just waiting for one more deposit. Bye.